What is a sonnet?
Why should we learn literature? Francisco Petrarch, William Shakespeare, John Donne. To the Nile by John Keats. Hi, I am Amita Varnakulasuriya from Balangoda, Sri Lanka. Hi everyone. We are addressing all people who are interested in literature, and this will be a continuous work, and of which this will be the first one. So, to begin with, we decided to discuss sonnets with you. You all may know that sonnets is a kind of poetry, a special kind of poetry in English. Hi everyone. Another sonnet. To the Nile by John Keats, who was born in 1795 and died in 1821. Just lived 26 years. Died young, but did a great eternal service to the field of English literature. So this is also a sonnet, Petrarchan sonnet, and an ode. He addresses river Nile. Hope you all know that Nile is considered the longest river in the world, which is 6,650 kilometers long. It begins in Africa and flows into the Mediterranean Sea in Egypt. So Keats addresses river Nile. As usual, we'll just go through the sonnet and then discuss, and we'll see what he says through the poem. To the Nile. Son of the old moon mountains African, chief of the pyramid and crocodile, we call thee fruitful, and that very while a desert fills our seeing's inward span. Nurse of swart nations since the world began, art thou so fruitful, or doth thou beguile such men to honor thee, who worn with toil, rest for space, twist Cairo and Deccan? Oh, may dark fancies err, they surely do. It's ignorance that makes a barren waste of all beyond itself. Thou dost bedew green rushes like our rivers, and doth taste the pleasant sunrise. Green Niles hath thou too, and to the sea as happily doth haste. This is a Petrarchan sonnet which has an octave and a sestet. In the octave, Keats appreciates the service done by Nile. He uses several metaphors to highlight the importance of the river. Throughout the octave, he appreciates and admires Nile, considering it is something divine. So he begins the poem like this: Son of old moon mountains Africa. So Moon Mountains is a legendary mountain range in Africa. The Victoria Lake is on these mountains, and that is where Nile begins. So here, saying son of old moon mountains, he gives Nile a divine quality. Then says, chief of the pyramid and crocodile. Chief means a leader. Pyramid means the Egyptian civilization. So it is a common fact that every civilization is based on a river. And Egyptian civilization is one of the world's greatest civilizations, and it is based on river Nile. And here the crocodile represents the Egyptian religion. It was a polytheistic religion, that means there were so many gods. And special feature of Egyptian gods are they have a human body and the head of an animal. So there's a particular god, he's called the god of river Nile, Sobek. He has a human body and head of a crocodile. And every year when Nile floods, the Egyptians thought that it was a gift from Sobek, because after the floods, the soil becomes fertile, right? So Nile is the chief of the Egyptian religion and civilization, and son of the mountains. Through these two metaphors, he gives masculine qualities to Nile, male qualities, strength, bravery, such qualities. Then he says, we call thee fruitful, right? That's how we call you. You are fruitful, and that very while a desert fills our seeing's inward span. So we know that uh, Nile crosses nearly 17 countries. Most of these countries are deserts. So Nile is the source of water to all these countries. That's why he appreciates. Then he says, a desert fills our source inward span, nurse of sport nations since the world began. Now the term nurse, the present meaning we use, we use the word nurse to address a person who takes care of sick people. But that was after the Crimean War. That means 1856. Florence Nightingale started the nursing service during that war. Before that, the term nurse was used to address a lady who looked after children. So here Keats argues that like a lady, Nile looked after the swart nations, that means dark-skinned peoples, especially Nubians. Now they were great warriors, they were the people who fought with Caesar. So here he gives Nile the qualities of a woman, feminine qualities, love, caring. Then he has a question, a rhetorical question, art thou so fruitful? Or dost thou beguile? Beguile means cheat. Cheat such men to honor thee who won with toil. These people have worked hard and they respect Nile a lot. They are very strong people who even build the pyramids and they respect Nile. So the poet sees that it is a quality of a Nile to get the attraction of these people. Rest for a space twist Cairo and Deccan. The river flows through Cairo, the capital of Egypt, and Deccan, a plateau. That is the octave. In the sestet, he completely turns his argument to another side. In the sestet, he compares Nile to river in his country. He was an Irish poet. He says, "Oh, make dark fancies error, they surely do. It's ignorance that makes a barren waste of all beyond itself. All rivers make barren, fertile lands. Thou dost bestow green rushes like our rivers." There's a simile. Like our rivers, there are marshy lands on the river banks. Nile has them, our rivers have them. And doth taste to the pleasant sunrise. It is very beautiful to see the sunrise over Nile. Same here in our rivers. Green Niles had thou too. You have green islands in the river. Our rivers also have islands. So similar. And to the sea as happily doth haste. All the rivers flow to the sea. So here he says everything done by Nile is done by the other rivers as well. Right? Although in the octave he appreciates and admires Nile, giving it divine qualities, giving it feminine and masculine qualities. In the sestet he argues the same service is done by all the rivers in the world. So what the poet says through this poem is, now Nile is important, but all the other rivers are important as well. So Nile is just a symbol here. What he says is every component in the nature is equally important. We can't say this is better than this or that is better than that. Every component in the nature is equally important. Thank you. Keats' argument is every component in the nature is equally important. So when now the Nile has been, so he has taken Nile as a symbol. So this component can be anything. Now here his example is river. All the rivers do some sort of a service to the mankind and the world, and you cannot say this is better than that or that is better than this. So if we generalize this component can be anything, any tree. There are certain trees, tall, large trees, very useful to the mankind. But even if there can be a small plant which is a very important medicine. So both are equal. It is common to the people as well. You can say this person is better than that person. He has done a greater service than him. No, everybody does his service in his frame. So we cannot refuse everyone. Every component in the nature is very important. You might have heard there's a Sanskrit verse saying that even a weed, small plant, is very useful, right? So everything in the nature, that is nature. Nature has given all these things because they are important. We need all. We cannot refuse anything in nature. Hi, I am Amita Varnakula Surya from Balangoda, Sri Lanka. I am a language teacher and I have been teaching for 35 years. I thought of sharing my experience and knowledge with you all. As far as I think, we cannot teach or learn literature individually. We have to share our experience and knowledge. That's why I thought of doing this program. I want you to watch this, and if you like, please like. And if you think others should watch this, I highly appreciate you can share it and subscribe. To continue this program, I really need your views, opinions, and ideas. So I want you to comment on these clips. I really appreciate that. So I want to share my experience with you all, and to share your experience, and we all can empower ourselves and do some better work. Thank you.